Tēnā koutou katoa tonight in your news bulletin. Confusion and rumours surround district councillors' resignations. Waiariki MP Tururo Flavel says working with Hone Harawira not an issue. And Rotorua to provide Team Samoa's official Rugby Cup welcome. Those stories and more in detail tonight on City News. After news of Councillor Jeff Kenny announcing his resignation from council, allegations have been made pointing to the resignation of Councillor Maggie Bentley. Rotorua Mayor Kevin Winters would only confirm he had heard rumours. Mr Winters says until he gets a letter of resignation from either Jeff or Maggie, it's just speculation. He says there are certain rules around the process after that, but they're complicated under the Local Government Act of whether you can carry on with 11 councillors, whether you can carry on with a by-election, or whether you can appoint the next person in line. Despite the allegations of Councillor Bentley's resignation, Councillor Kenny confirmed yesterday he and Councillor Bentley would coordinate their resignations to reduce ratepayer costs in any subsequent by-election. New Mana Party MP Hone Harawira is hoping to work with the Māori Party ahead of this year's general election. Mr Harawira retained his Te Tai Tokerau seat at last Saturday's by-election and has signalled his intent to work with the Māori Party in the future, despite some initial resistance from the Māori Party co-leader Peter Sharples. Māori Party MP for Waiariki Tururo Flavel says there are still a lot of discussions to be had and Hone still has to win his seat again in the general election.
Well, if he wins his seat, he's going to be in Parliament anyway, come hell or high water, whether I like it or not, and that's still to be determined at the main election. Can we work together? Track record says, oh, there's some issues there, but in the end, we probably have, as I've said all along, we've probably got common views and aspirations for Māori in this country. The difference is probably how we achieve that, and from our perspective it's pretty clear you can only achieve that by sitting next to the major party. Other than that, you're sitting outside and all you're doing is yelling or throwing stones and getting them come back in your face most of the time. So whether we can work with him is probably not too much of an issue down the line, because firstly he's got to win his seat, secondly he's got to ask the question, and thirdly we've got to agree. And fourthly it depends on the major party as well, because he might be still able to be independent for all intents and purposes if we were to sit next to National or Labour. So there's a lot of water still to go under the bridge, and a lot of negotiations still to come. And I mean, it's only early days yet. There's still another 5 or 6 months to the election. A lot of work to be done, a lot of discussion to be had, so you never know.
And we have more from Tururo Flavel later in the programme, including his view on standing against a Mana Party candidate in the upcoming general election. A mayoral reception will be held tomorrow for recipients of the Rotorua Community Leadership Awards. The awards were created to celebrate the Sir Peter Blake Trust Leadership Week. Citations will be given in performing arts, youth leadership, business and community service leadership, sports and the environment. In total, 16 leaders will be awarded citations. Game bird hunters are being urged to make the most of this weekend as the season draws to a close this Sunday. Fish and Game Officer Matt McDougall says it's been a tough season for hunters with lots of rain, but as the weather is clearing and things dry out, the tail end of the season could still produce some good bags. Mr McDougall says on a positive note, next game bird season is looking good as the result of an unusually early start to breeding. Hunters can extract plenty more value from their licences as they switch to shooting upland game birds, pheasants and quail until the end of August. And Fish and Game officers have renewed an appeal for hunters to contact them with information if they harvest a bird with a band or one of the radio transmitters which were fitted to about 50 birds. In sport tonight, Rotorua has been chosen to provide Team Samoa's official Rugby World Cup 2011 welcome, and the city's Rugby World Cup 2011 team is gearing up for their September arrival. Rotorua Rugby World Cup coordinator Renee Nathan says the council is going to work with Te Arawa elders, the local Samoan community, schools and businesses on Team Samoa's official New Zealand welcome in Rotorua. Mrs Nathan says local residents, kindergartens, schools and businesses will be invited to line the footpaths and wave flags as the coach carrying the Samoan team arrives in Rotorua. She says there will also be an opportunity for Rotorua people to join local schools at the village green, where a mass haka will welcome Team Samoa and their supporters. The official welcome ceremony for the Samoan rugby team will be held at Te Papaiouru Marae in Ohinemutu at 12 p.m. on Thursday the 8th of September. Now to your weather forecast, Rotorua. Tonight, fine southerlies easing, overnight a low of 2. Tomorrow Friday, fine southeasterlies dying away, a high of 13 and a low of 3. Long range through to Saturday, morning fog, then fine, light winds, a high of 13 and a low of 3. Marine forecast for Lake Rotorua tomorrow Friday, variable 5 knots, waves less than half a metre and fine. If you've missed any of tonight's bulletin, you can watch it again by going to tvrotorua.co.nz and click on the View Latest City News link. Or to view what's on in our city, click on the Upcoming Events link. Still to come in tonight's program, we talk politics with Waiariki MP Tururo Flavel. Ricky Lee and Andy George tell us about the More FM and Rainbow Springs Community Awards, and Craig Tiriana tells us about the Waiariki Māori Media Reunion.